An ex once said to me, if I really wanted to do something, then I'll just do it and it won't be an issue. That wasn't very helpful, and quite possibly why he might be an ex, because it sure hasn't been my experience. Instead, it feels like the things I want to do most are actually the things that are met with the most resistance. Like, I can find all kinds of reasons to avoid doing the one thing that I know that I need to do. And one of those things is showing up here to make these videos. I've had a desire to share what goes on in my inner world now for years. And I'm in a space where I now have the time, I have the facilities, I have the ideas. So why is it still so hard? I experience this inner conflict where I want to do something, but I also want to avoid it at the same time. Is it fear? Yes. Is it perfectionism? Absolutely. But I have found a way to overcome those things. So I now do this thing where I write down everything that I want to talk about in advance to help me filter my own thoughts and to make sense of them, and to cut down on editing time, because we know that's just yet another excuse waiting to happen. I've also tried to bring in drawings because I thought that would make the videos more interesting, and I'm an illustrator by trade, so it made sense. And I'm pretty proud of the last one, I must say. But then why is it still so hard? I have this idea that things should flow and be easy if it's meant to be, right? Like, if it's too hard, then that's a sign that it's not for me. I imagine that I can just sit on the couch and suddenly some divine inspiration will hit me, and I will get up in like a trance-like state and sit down at my computer and just spew out absolute gold, and it will blast off to be seen by the people who need it the most. And so far, that has not happened to me. I have experienced flow-like states in my life before, like when I quit my job and to work for myself. I made this commitment, and then it was like energy shifted overnight, and doors were opening consistently and people were popping up out of nowhere to help me on my path, and it felt like absolute magic. But that is a different story for another time. This one is about the struggle. So coming back to that reflection on my process of writing and filming and drawing it out so that I can ensure that I have the best video with wherever I'm at the moment. Why does it still feel like such an effort? I challenged myself to approach it differently, and one of the best questions that I ask myself when things are getting a bit tough is, how can this be more fun? And I throw away all the shoulds, like how I think a video should look, or how I should be to be interesting or successful or whatever it is. And then it hit me. It was the drawing. The drawing felt like so much effort, and I could not admit that to myself for so long because I'm an artist. It's how I make my living. If I'm not drawing or showing my art in a video, I thought it wouldn't be interesting. But people just talk in videos all the time, right? There are tons of videos out there with someone just showing up as themselves, providing information or entertainment the best that they can in the moment that they have. So why can't I do that? Oh no, that wouldn't be interesting. That wouldn't be enough. Or really, was it that I felt I wouldn't be interesting and that I wouldn't be enough? I realized my identity has been wrapped up in being an artist my whole life. Who am I if I'm not an artist? That's my thing. Like, without that, I'm nothing. We know that that's not true. And if this was my friend saying all this to me, I'd be like, you're amazing as you are. You don't even need to try. I love you for who you are, and blah, 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 because all of that is true. But when it's you, it feels real, you know? I hadn't realized how much value I had put on myself being my work. And I think that's probably quite common for artists because the work we do is so personal. It really is like sharing a piece of yourself every time you create something, like bringing a bit of your heart and soul into this physical world, this thing that you've created. And I've wrapped up my identity as an artist, my value, my ability to make money, all into this ability to do rather than just be who I am. What would it look like if I just show up as me, as I am, and just be? Well, it looks like this. I challenged myself in this video to show up without the drawing, without the identity shell that perhaps I hide behind now that I think about it. And you know what? It's not that bad. I'm actually quite proud of myself. So I guess I would say to my younger self, to past Rhiannon, who is struggling with taking action on the things that she wants to do, I would ask her 2 questions. Number 1, how is taking no action actually benefiting you? And for me, it was being able to hide behind my artist identity and not have to actually show up as myself. And then number 2, what is it that you're truly afraid of? Like, what's underneath it all? What are you avoiding? And for me, it was this fear of being seen as plain old me, and that wouldn't be enough for the world. And this isn't to say I won't be drawing ever again, because I love drawing. But I want to draw when it feels good, because I want to, not because I have to, or that I should do to keep up a consistent brand or whatever, or because I'm not good enough without it. I hope this little reflection helps you to take your action that you know you need to take. And you know, maybe my ex wasn't wrong. His process and journey to action just looks different to mine. You know, like less years of procrastination for him. And that's fine. That's okay. I'm fine about it. Really. Years.